I'm gonna hide a sneeze. Excuse me. Hello. Welcome to this October solar return check-in. This is my monthly opportunity to reflect on my cards for the entirety of the year. I recorded myself a 13 card pull for May 2023 to I guess April 2024. And now we're at the 6 month mark of having done this, where I check in each month by watching my original solar return video. And then I'll usually check on the video from the previous month to kind of see like my reflections. So we are up to October. Right now, I am now 37 and a half. So past my half birthday, I made it. We're here. We can all live. And it was so interesting to go back not only to look at my initial interpretation of the Three of Tomes, which is my card for October into November, but then also like what I talked about last month with this Dreamer of Tomes. So I also recorded that video right during a period of major contraction. I am currently coming out of a period of major contraction. That video was about a week, I think, before the new moon solar eclipse. And then this is about 2 weeks after the full moon solar eclipse. One was lunar, one was solar. I forget which one was which. And we're about to hit a new moon in a couple of days. So tomes are showing me action. They're showing me my recommitment to daily behaviors that actually like bring me joy and help me lead the life that I want to lead. So I talked a lot about with the Dreamer of Tomes how this is a very youthful card, and the whatever eclipse that happened at the full moon really had me connect with my inner 7-year-old. She was the one who wanted to be a writer, an author. And now for this October into November card with this Three of Tomes reversed, it has really shown me that I am the pupil. Like I am going through this journey of like recommitting to the daily work of living the life that I want. And that includes reading, that includes writing, that includes reflecting, and that includes all of these other practices that I have like really recommitted to, like a daily bike ride. I fucking love riding my bike. I didn't ride it for like 6 months just because. And I started an art practice relatively regularly. I have been keeping up with my singing practice, my keyboard practice, my HIIT workouts, my walking, my yoga, like all the things that I can sprinkle throughout my day while being a doctoral student and while writing my novel. I'm like, girl, Carrie, you are living the dream. This is literally what I've wanted to be for 30 years of my life. So this Three of Tomes is like, and I talked about this rosemary being like a protective plant and one that has to do with memory. And this feels like a really nice like remembrance. I also talked in my initial video about how this three could be linked back to my card from June into July, which was the reversed Three of Candles. And how I talked about like, coming back to different practices and different things that filled me up. I also talked about this Eight of Vials being like my overall card of like, what am I leaving behind that no longer fulfills me? And so much of what I'm learning about myself is that I love to learn. I keep coming back to the same things over and over again because I keep kind of like leveling up with my like deep understanding of what actually sustains me, what actually supports me. And for me, it is that practical behavioral change. We keep, or there's that analogy of like, one drop at a time, like one step at a time, like everything happens literally in the micro moments that add up to, particularly with something like a writing practice or a studying practice or a workout practice. Like, it's all of those tiny, tiny, tiny commitments that add up over time to like, wow, look at how many pages I've written, or look at how many pages I've read, or look at how strong my body has gotten, or look at how much joy I have cultivated by having a, you know, a a bike riding practice and a keyboard practice and a singing practice. So I'm just kind of coming back to this idea of, you know, this three of tomes is like the master, the model, and the pupil. And in any given situation, I am all of those things. But what I really know is that, like, I love being a learner. I love being a pupil. My initial video in May was before the doctoral program landed in my lap. And at that point, I was like, Carrie, I think you are going to be the pupil. And now this day and age, Carrie's like, good job, like, May, Carrie, you hit the nail on the head, without even knowing, you know. And then with my last month's reflection on this like youthful idea of the dreamer of tones, you know, it's really amazing, you know, how much I needed to reconnect with that little 7-year-old in me who felt unheard for a very long time, who felt scared of actually saying what she wanted to say and exploring her imagination. And now, like, I've had a very solid couple of weeks practice of being like, we get to just play, we get to just do this together, and we're going to continue to learn as we go. I also talked about how this internal process has often led to me wanting to like share things right away, and how that's not necessarily a bad thing, but how I just wanted to be mindful of like my capacity. It's like, I don't have to internalize something and then immediately turn around and offer it to the world. I can actually take some time to like integrate and process. And it's interesting because just this morning I was looking, or I went to a webinar about like book marketing. So like, I'm clearly putting the cart ahead of the horse and being like, I already need to know all about book marketing. I haven't even finished my book, although I do have the intention of finishing my first draft by winter solstice. So not this next month reflection, but the one after that. I will be able to hopefully say my first draft is finished and I'm working on my revisions and my, you know, edits for my second draft, which is so funny because last month I was talking about like committing to a 12-month program. And then I was like, well, what if I just wrote it in 7 weeks? Because like I had a big chunk of it done and I have an idea of what still needs to be done. And I just am deciding to trust like whatever comes out is what needs to come out. It won't all make it into the final draft, and that's okay. So for this entire fall sort of spiral of the year, I am seeing sort of this shift from candles, which I did not rewatch the video for that reflection of, I guess, August into September, but I do think it's very interesting that like that's like a fiery season, and then it transitioned to the very practical, the very earthy tomes for the last 2 months. And I have felt like I'm coming home to myself because I am deeply, deeply earth signed, like in throughout my whole natal chart. And this Eight of Vials being the card that like is propelling me throughout the year is a nice reminder that like, yeah, I can tap into that fire and I can use it to kind of like help me get where I need to go. But ultimately, I do need to reflect. I do need to tap in, and I do need to walk away from anything that isn't serving me. And I have like actually let go of a couple extra things. Like I just stopped doing my Patreon videos, which were weekly, just because I was like, I really want to focus on writing. And as much as I've liked the Patreon videos, I've been like, it's okay. I can come back to them when I want to, but for the next 7 weeks, I really want to focus. I am still working on my my doctoral program and an action research project, but then also like just being, like being a writer and having the life that I want. I've decided that like that's my focus, and everything else I'm going to kind of like let to like let fall by the wayside, and all that's okay. So I am looking forward to coming back in December and checking in on how November went. So we'll be at a new spiral of the year. We'll start in the winter, which will again lead into spring, and then we'll get to kind of the end of my year, until I turn 38. And I am releasing or opening up my books for doing year ahead spreads like this. So my initial video was about 42 minutes long, where I talked about each card in each month. And then these are the little check-ins. So if you would like a pre-recorded 45 to 60, I just did one that was an hour and a half, video for the year, that is a possibility, and I'll put the Google form in the notes below. And then this little container of what I'm doing for myself right now is an option for either monthly or quarterly check-ins on like how the year is gone and how the cards have gone. So thank you to future Carrie, because you might be the only one watching this, but if anyone else watches it, thank you too.